All right, folks. Welcome to our monthly webinar at RepStack. Today, my amazing guest is our Chief Growth Officer, Mr. Jeff Fisher. And I'm not sure if a lot of you guys know, but Jeff's been doing a lot of things, and he's my coach. Like I go to him for advice. I've been doing that for the last two years almost, and you know what I really love about Jeff is that he brings real life example, a real life work experience to the table here. And we were just talking about today's topic. We're going to be talking about why it's so important to attend industry events within your niche, right? So if you're a digital marketing agency owner and you're working with HVAC companies, then you should have a list of all the HVAC events going on in the United States and Canada and have a plan on how to attend that. Because from everyone I know, including Jeff, these events work really, really well. And there are some events where I was just talking to a friend of mine, Chris Martinez, who runs another digital marketing agency. And he's like, he can get like 20 to 30 discovery calls from one of these events, and he is just attending them. He's just going and event after event. Some of these he's speaking in, some of these he's not. But that's a topic. I think it's a really utilized tool for digital marketing agency growth, and especially if you have a niche market already picked out, it becomes so easy for you to attend these industry events and have a great impact on your sales. So without any further ado, Jeff, welcome to the team. What do you think of our topic today?
I think it's a great topic. You said it best. It's way underutilized because it takes the time to build out the calendar, right? Mm-hmm. So we never get around to building out that calendar, tracking it all down. So, use your RepStack professional that you have on your team to build that calendar for you, and then make sure that you attend 3 or 4 every year. And size doesn't matter. You can go to an event with 40 people and come away with a $20,000 contract, and you can go to an event with 1,000 people and still only come away with a $20,000 contract. But it's all about what it costs you and time and energy and money to do that. And I've always found, I was telling you earlier, when I was doing childcare, I spent $10,000 one time to be on the stage, and over the next 12 months, it generated about $150,000 in new revenue. So I've seen it work personally for myself.
That's great. And the reason this topic popped out is because in May, first week of May, I believe it's May 2nd and 3rd, we are going to be a speaker at AdWorld conference, which is one of the biggest digital marketing conferences in the world. This one is going to be virtual, but nevertheless, we ended up, spending some cash on this event, and we're trying to, make sure that every step of this process is choreographed, and we have a shift of people who are going to be attending the event, manning our booth, the virtual booth, and then I am also going to be speaking in the growth track that they have for agencies in there, where I'm interviewing one of my clients, who is Josh Nelson, and we're talking about the importance of why you need to hire for the 3 key roles that RepStack places for. So so that's kind of where we're giving that tidbit of information to the rest of the world, or to the digital marketing world, on the growth side. And I would request anyone listening to this that get some tickets. There's still some time. I think there's great value there. But let's break this open on the back end, where obviously this is our first major event that we're doing, and we're investing some time and money into this, but we'd like to get some return on investment as well. And our marketing team is, I think, ready to kind of calculate everything. So far we've been spending, but hopefully we'll get something out of it as well. But what are like the first steps to the process? Like if you are a digital marketing agency and you're focused on focused on a niche already, I think that would be the biggest prerequisite there. And what's the step number one? Like, do you need to build out a list of all these events first and figure out? I know, Jeff, you're holding out on a secret, which is the 7 city strategy that you coined a while back when you were working on your own digital marketing agency. Maybe I'll let you answer how we start out and then go into the 7 city strategy from you.
So I learned this the hard way. Make sure you get, as you look at each of these different events, you get the agenda. And in the agenda, they have to have a business growth development type track. So I thought I was doing really great in childcare. I went to this big conference. I set up my booth, beautiful booth, and I stood there about 3/4 of the day and no one stopped at my booth. And I finally walked over to my booth mate and said, "What's going on here?" And he pulled out the agenda and he says, "There's no business track. This is all about psychologists, psychiatrists, all the thinking behind childcare. This has nothing to do with how to operate your childcare center." I packed up that day and went home. I wasn't gonna stay the other 2 days.
How much money did you spend on it, Jeff?
Probably $2,500 or so. Time I traveled there and paid for the booth.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too expensive, but again, it was just over in California, but it was still the time and energy and the prep and the 47 sheets of handouts and all of that stuff that were completely wasted because I was in the wrong place. So there's the number one thing: get their agenda, make sure that they have some kind of business track where your solution as a digital marketer is something that the people attending are looking for. Otherwise, you're going to do much better just running a simple email campaign, sitting at home, than doing the traveling. My 7 cities strategy happens to be something I invented. I live in Reno, Nevada, and at the time that I invented it, Southwest Airlines flew to 7 major cities in an hour and a half or less. No stops, nonstop, hour and a half or less. So I discovered the different events in those cities, which could be as small as their local chapter of a national child center organization. At one time I traveled, there was only 18 people in the room. I got like 20 minutes over dinner. I was the quote unquote dinner speaker, but I got to speak while they were eating, not they're going to eat and then I'm going to speak after the dinner. So when you go there, you're kind of, is this going to even make any sense? And I walked out of there with a contract for about $10,000. Plus I got exposure to 18 people that I otherwise may never have gotten to. So I have found that learn those 7 cities, 9 cities, whatever it is, the key is it's got to be a nonstop, because the way I set it up, typically I was able to leave, after lunch, go do the dinner presentation, maybe sleep overnight and be back in my office at 10 a.m. the next morning.
Oof.
As soon as you take the one on where you got to fly for a day, present for an hour the next day, fly home, and you start thinking about, now that's a 3-day investment. And, again, if I'm investing 3 days, I want to go to a conference with 300, 400, 500 people. If I'm investing a 24-hour period of time, I'll go to, fairly small, even as many as 20 people, because I only need one deal to make it pay.
Yeah. So those 7 cities, you identified them, which are the best for your niche, or are they good for where you reside?
Best for the niche. So they had to be nonstop, and they had to have some kind of organization within that geographic area. Let's not just say city, but within that geographic area where they met monthly or quarterly for, a chapter of some organization or other.
And then all of these you were attending, Jeff, you were a speaker, a guest speaker on this in a probably like something similar to a growth track?
Yeah, so that's your best event if you get at least 20 minutes to speak. The best I ever did from as I went to one of these where I didn't have time on the stage, but I showed up with a giveaway of a free website at that time to childcare. And I knew the presenter. This was a 1-day type conference. So I showed up, I showed her the certificate, said, I want to give this away to one of your attendees. So she got to hype that all day long. And then at the end of the day, when I came up to give away my website, she let me stay on the stage for 30 minutes. I didn't pay anything on the stage. Then I walked away with a $50,000 contract.
Nice.
Totally gambling. But in a perfect, you're showing up, you're the dinner speaker, even if it's only 20 minutes. Because remember, there's no competitors in the room.
Yeah.
As soon as they say, well, we got 14 booths in back, then I want to, it's a different kind of event. But if you're the only guy speaking or gal speaking, it's a good way to make some money.
Yeah, that's huge. I think, yeah, becoming a speaker at one of these events, and I haven't had a lot of experience in doing these. Hopefully this year we're going to have a few behind our belt. On our side, because we're working focused on digital marketing agencies, we've identified a few big ones. AdWorld is one of them, and then Traffic and Conversion is happening in San Diego, I believe sometime end of September or start of October. So we're planning on attending that one as well. But from what I've been hearing from people like you, other agency owners who are friends, these guys like live by, like once you have a formula figured out, then I think it's a win-win. You can just have a list of these events that you attend every year. You try to be on the rostrum and get at least 20 minutes in front of the crowd, and then you try to have some sort of a giveaway. Is that the right way to go here, Jeff, to bring in those people?
Yeah, a lot of the people hosting it won't let you get away with that because they know what you're trying to do is get that time on the stage for free instead of paying for it. But you find a way to get on the stage. That's the critical. I don't care if you're giving away something. I've paid as much as $10,000 to have an hour presentation. I had 40 plus people in the room and walked away, like I say, with over $150,000 in the next 12 months. So if you're always thinking about going for free, just hanging around your booth, that is not the solution, in my opinion. If you just want to go and gather names, that's okay, if that's the purpose of it. But otherwise, I have a giveaway, but make sure the giveaway is relevant to your niche and to what you do.
Yeah,
because
I think we're on our AdWorld, we're giving away a strategy session, and then we're also giving away access to our courses, our agency growth tracks that we recently launched. So limited access to some of our best courses. We're going to give that in addition to a strategy session where we can, sit down with someone and really hash out that job description for them, whether they decide to hire with us or not. So I think both of them are great values, but having a giveaway, I think, is important from what I've gathered so far. Identifying these within your niche, identifying all of these events that you could go to, and then you don't have to go to, like Jeff said, with his 7-city strategy. You don't have to go to each one of them. Pick out the ones that are going to have the best impact, and make sure you do research, like what Jeff learned after spending $2,500 and pack up the bags the same day that this particular event didn't even have a growth track. So you want to make sure that they're focused. The event you're heading out to has a growth track, and then you try to get in front of that audience by either paying the event organizers extra, and they usually have that, right? If you ask them, they're going to have different sponsorship arrangements available, and the more money you put in the pot, the honey and pot example there, that I think you should be able to get something out of it. We're really excited. Now, the flip side of attending the AdWord, the flip side of this, Jeff, is going to be how to track your ROI on this, because this is something that's like in the real world and it's happening. There's got a lot of moving pieces. What would you say, like, what's the best way to kind of track ROI on something like this?
So for me, I want 3 times investment signed in the 90 days after the event.
Okay.
So if I invest $10,000, if I can come away with $30,000 from either the event or in the 90-day window, so I'm working the leads, it's definitely paid for itself. But more importantly, I'm going to have additional leads over and above that. But I kind of use that as my criteria. And so
if
again,
you're spending,
if you're spending $2,500,
yeah,
you walk away with $10,000, it's still a good deal.
Yeah. And then most of the agency owners that I know are, if you're closing $30,000 worth of business, then usually it's recurring revenue as well. That's the sweet thing that we tend to forget about. And that 30,000 end of the year is over $250,000, right? So,
Okay.
so that's, I think that's a good statement. If my marketing team is listening, remember, guys, 3 times the investment we need out of our AdWords spend that we're going to be spending. Okay, so there's a question from I guess we have a few questions here really quick. Christine, and she asked the same question, so it looks like we just answered it. How do you measure the ROI on something like this? And looks like Jeff just answered it. We want to get at least 3 times our investment back from something like this. James is asking Jeff, should I invest in a booth, or can this work by just attending? So again, I think we've been talking about this, but can this also work by just going to these events?
It's very difficult to do it by just attending. Because remember, if you're in a room of 400 people, so you're the digital marketer with no booth, and your competitors in a booth, and they're speaking. Who do you think they're going to come to as the expert in the niche? It's not going to be you walking around, because the worst thing you can do in going to one of these is, you got all these vendors that are displaying whatever they're trying to sell, and now you're walking up and asking them to listen to your pitch. They're there to sell their wares or find new clients. They're not there to find you to buy stuff. Now, it can be done. There's other strategies. If you've got a hot lead follow-up list of, let's say you got a dozen people that you knew were going to do the event, like a traffic and conversion, for example, invite them all to dinner, take them all out to dinner one night. So another way that you can do it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I've never done this, but Dan Kennedy talks a lot about using a hospitality suite. So get a suite, fill it up with pop and donuts, and maybe even feed them a light lunch, and then invite everybody on your list to join you at the hospitality suite. Now, you got to be careful, because whoever's putting the event on oftentimes is not happy that you're doing it.
You don't want to be stepping on toes, so probably keep them in the loop.
Yeah, well, you ask permission, and or you have it across the street. But remember, this is the bad side of being in a niche. If you piss off the niche, it's hard to recover, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm always very courteous to any of the event providers, any of the consultants in the niche, and that's a whole nother topic we could talk about on a different day, is how to use consultants to build your business as well.
Yeah, and I think I have an example on the consultant side. We're part of this mastermind group, and we have a lot of clients in that group as well. We go there for our learning as well, but when we do go there, we see a lot of our clients there too, because they're also consulting with the same client, same consultant. So we've done this now twice in a row that we have like 10 or 15 clients there, plus we have some potential clients who are friends of our clients and things like that. And come lunchtime, we'll just take everybody over to like a taco place or this hot spicy Indian place and things like that. And we've done it twice now. And I'm not sure, we haven't really actively tracked anything back out of this, but it definitely felt good to give our clients back, and then also have discussions with some potential clients. And I'm sure if we were to look at some numbers, I don't have them in front of me, we would have some conversions just by doing that act alone.
Yeah, and the key there is, remember that when you attend, you're going there as a student, not a vendor. Because if you come across as a vendor, the third time you go, nobody will want to talk to you. But if you're a student learning from the consultant, participating in, revealing the numbers for your business or whatever's required, you're building trust at a crazy fast speed. So just remember that little trick as well.
That's a great value bomb. So far, like the key takeaways that I got Jeff's 7-city strategy. We unboxed that. Then Jeff talked about this amazing strategy called the hospitality suite. I love that name. And you do your lunch thing, or you get a room and invite people there with some beverages and other things, snacks and things like that. And then the last thing is that anytime you try to attend any of these events, make sure you go there as a student. I know it's worked for us really well. If any one of you guys who try this, let us know how this worked out for you guys. Anything else besides this? I think it's a pretty short and sweet. It's simple. It's usually we're inside digital marketing, and we things are really complex and stuff like that. This is a real world thing. We're going and meeting people and things like that, and it's simple. You just need to find the time and some money put aside to start investing in these events. And I think they should start paying dividends. And I know from people like Jeff and other coaches and other agency owners that this really, really works, especially when done properly inside a niche. Any closing thoughts on this, Jeff?
Well, and if you're not totally niche down, do not forget about your local geographic area, your city that you live in, or the city that's 30 minutes away or whatever, because there's all kinds of conferences that go on, and they're all looking for speakers. So if the Chamber of Commerce is putting on a conference and they have some kind of growth track, some kind of business track, offer to speak.
Yeah.
But if you're niche down, which is what we recommend, don't do that just because you have access to it.
Yeah, a lot of agency owners are still not niche down, and I think that's a great win-win or takeaway for our agency owner. Like, I've run my agency as a non-niched agency, and I attended, and we'll leave you guys with this funny story about one event that I did back in 2008 when I first started my agency. And this was a small business event that was happening in downtown Calgary. And, I think we spent like $1,500, a huge amount for me at that time. And went there, got nothing, like what you said, Jeff, got nothing out of it because, what I did was, I didn't get in front of, become a speaker there. I just stand behind my booth and just stood there for people to come. Some people did come. I did get some numbers and things like that. But I remember this one guy walking up to me with, like his ripped jeans. And I thought, like, what is this guy? And he had this dating website idea. And long behold, out of all of that stuff, I closed that guy on like, that was the biggest project that I closed at that time. It was like, I think a $7,500 project. You can see that, he was a dreamer. That dating website didn't make anywhere on the top sites, but I did make my money back on that one. But that was the first and the last one I did, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it again. But I think with all of these tips, it covers even if you're not niche down. Figure out the right areas, do the research, and then try to get in front of the crowd. I think you'll have a lot better results.
Totally agree.
All right, sounds good. We'll send this out to everybody who attended and who did not attend it, and we'll try to turn this into like a mini course and upload it into our agency growth tracks as well. Thanks for your time today, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.